them. I cannot help being frightened when I see my contemporaries dropping off around me. And these, said I, are the only regrets you feel for poor Larieux, a man who worshipped you for 60 years, and who never ceased to complain of your cruelty, yet never revolted from his allegiance. He was a model lover. There are no more such men. My dear child, answered the Marquise, I see that you think me cold and heartless. Perhaps you are right. Judge for yourself. I will tell you my whole history, and whatever opinion you may have of me, I shall, at least, not die without having made myself known to someone. When I was 16, I left Saint-Cyr, where I had been educated, to marry the Marquis de. He was 50, but I dared not complain, for everyone congratulated me on this splendid match, and all my portionless companions envied my lot. I was never very bright, and at that time I was positively stupid. The education of the cloister had completely benumbed my faculties. I left the convent with a romantic idea of life and of the world, stupidly considered a merit in young girls, but which often results in the misery of their whole lives. As a natural consequence, the experience brought me by my brief married life was lodged in so narrow a mind that it was of no use to me. I learned not to understand life, but to doubt myself. I was a widow before I was 17, and as soon as I was out of mourning, I was surrounded by suitors. I was then in all the splendour of my beauty, and it was generally admitted that there was neither face nor figure that could compare with mine. But my husband, an old, worn-out, dissipated man who had never shown me anything but irony and disdain, and had married me only to secure an office promised with my hand, had left me such an aversion to marriage that I could never be brought to contract new ties. In my ignorance of life, I fancied that all men resembled him, and that in a second husband I should find Monsieur de R.'s hard heart, his pitiless irony, and that insulting coldness which had so deeply humiliated me. This terrible entrance into life had dispelled for me all the illusions of youth. My heart, which perhaps was not entirely cold, withdrew into itself and grew suspicious. I was foolish enough to tell my real feelings to several women of my acquaintance. They did not fail to tell what they had learned, and without considering the doubts and anguish of my heart, boldly declared that I despised all men. There is nothing men will resent more readily than this. My lovers soon learned to despise me, and continued their flatteries only in the hope of finding an opportunity to hold me up to ridicule. I saw mockery and treachery written upon every forehead, and my misanthropy increased every day. About this time, there came to Paris from the provinces a man who had neither talent, strength, nor fascination, but who possessed a frankness and uprightness of feeling very rare among the people with whom I lived. This was the Vicomte de Larieux. He was soon acknowledged to be my most favoured lover. He, poor soul, loved me sincerely in his soul. His soul. Had he a soul? He was one of those hard, prosaic men who have not even the elegance of vice or the glitter of falsehood. He was struck only by my beauty. He took no pains to discover my heart. This was not disdain on his part, it was incapacity. Had he found in me the power of loving, he would not have known how to respond to it. I do not think there ever lived a man more wedded to material things than poor Larieux. He ate with delight, and fell asleep in all the armchairs. The remainder of the time he took snuff. He was always occupied in satisfying some appetite. I do not think he had one idea a day. And yet, my dear friend, will you believe it? I never had the energy to get rid of him. For 60 years he was my torment, constantly offended by my repulses, yet constantly drawn to me by the very obstacles I placed in the way of his passion. He had for me the most faithful, the most undying, the most wearisome love that ever man felt for woman. I am surprised.